Vanspirit folk. It's Cindy and Bret here. This time we are going to be talking about our experience at the Rubber Tramp Roundup, which was a week long, and the first 3 days were just for women. And
I had to stay home.
Yeah.
No men allowed.
No men allowed.
Anywhere.
Well, just for parking and ushers, but that was about it. And food vendors. But otherwise, all women.
Telling secrets.
So I love going to classes. So I had all the classes listed in my calendar app before the whole thing started, and I was ready to go. I had no expectations on if I was going to meet people or not, but I ended up meeting a group of women right away, and it was a group of 6 to 8 of us, and we enjoyed the classes together. So some of the classes were like basic maintenance, how to get rid of your own waste. Those are the only things that are coming to my mind right now. But it was a wonderful event filled with women focused, as well as just a safe space for women to ask questions, especially about things they didn't know about, like the mechanics of their vehicle. So, and there was always question and comments after each session, so that was informative as well. So yeah, so the group of women that I connected with stayed throughout pretty much, well, all of the WRTR, and maybe about half of the regular RTR. So Bret's gonna talk about the regular RTR.
So this is our first Rubber Tramp. I keep saying rendezvous. Was it Roundup or rendezvous?
Oh, it is Roundup.
It is Roundup or rendezvous?
I thought it was Roundup.
I think it's Rubber Tramp Roundup.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been
I think
putting that on Facebook. So it's the Rubber Tramp. She's always right. The Rubber Tramp Roundup. And it is, we don't know exactly how many people attend this, for lack of a better term, conference or gathering. The largest Rubber Tramp Roundup gathering had 10,000 people. This one I estimated probably about 5,000 people gathering in a baseball field. It was a baseball field and then a parking lot in Quartzsite, Arizona. The entire town of Quartzsite is surrounded by BLM land, so the camping was free, and Quartzsite is a trip in itself. It's RVs of every sort for as far as you can see. You know, Bounders right out of Breaking Bad, everything until to $500,000 rigs parked side by side. In one campground, there was a road, and on one side there was an encampment with a rebel flag and an American flag, and on the other side of the road was a rainbow flag and a BIPOC flag and a hippie flag. And I'm like, this is America right now, like the rainbow and the rebels. And I have to say that by the end, within 2 days, the rebels took down their flag. I watched them go out there one day, and they're like, they take down the flag and they put back up the American flag. So I'm in my mind imagining a great convergence of minds where the Confederate flag waving folks decided that the world is just a much more gentle place than. But that's an aside. Back to the RTR. It is a gathering of the nomadic community. Last month or a couple months ago, we attended the Overland Expo, which is a very similar kind of demographic as far as trying to get out into the world and live in vehicles. Overland is kind of a theme. I put as much money as you can possibly put into your rigs and go to the extremes. The Rubber Tramp Roundup was kind of the opposite. I would say half the participants there were living in their vans, cars, uh, whatever, campers by choice because they wanted to live a nomadic lifestyle, or were doing it for a period of time, like Cindy and I. And the other half, by circumstance, found themselves in living in their vehicles. And so it was an awesome coming together of people to share information. I was astounded at how many uh, middle-aged, and I can say that because I'm middle-aged,
Mm-hmm.
uh, women were there who had a similar story. They lost a husband or a job, or circumstances led them to throw caution to the wind and just hit the road in a minivan. But a lot of folk out there don't have all the know-how to survive in a van. And so Cindy mentioned the workshops, all these workshops on how to do solar, how to do batteries, how to fix your tires, how to heat your small space safely. And all of this was put together, the whole RTR was put together by a nonprofit organization called the Homes on Wheels Alliance. And it is a nonprofit dedicated to this sort of thing, helping people be safe on the road and connecting people on the road so they can travel in safety. The Homes on Wheels Alliance realizes that in the coming years, more and more of us, by chance or not, are going to be living in vehicles. And so they've got legislative efforts to help towns and cities understand the nomadic lifestyle and not be so hostile towards us, and is dedicated to getting as many resources into people's hands as they can. They for this Rubber Tramp Roundup, they had a sponsor, Columbia, who gave,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was $900 worth of,
No, it was
no,
7,000.
$7,000 worth of cold weather gear to
And there
keep
was
people warm.
another company that gave the same amount. So at least 14,000 altogether
Yeah,
of cold weather gear.
yeah, for people living in their vans who can't afford it. And the organizers were really clear. This is not a free clothing giveaway for people who can afford a Columbia jacket, but an opportunity for people who can't afford the really good stuff to get their hands on it. And it was really awesome to watch people. And then you like the giveaway pile, right?
Yeah, they had this free table there starting the whole time from the women's section to the all inclusive section. Um, and so people would donate anything, anything that they didn't need
Mm-hmm.
anymore, so slightly used. Some were brand new, from clothing to uh, food storage or other types of storage to electronics. And it was turned over. I heard one of the volunteers say it's turned over like every 5 minutes because someone grabs something and then puts something back or
Mm-hmm.
put something new on. So it was going the whole time. It was amazing. Another thing that was amazing was a sewing booth. And so at least 3 people at a time that I could see when I went up were sewing whatever for people,
Mm-hmm.
clothing, curtains, tents, and everything was donation only. So there was, in that respect, it was more like Burning Man. So just kind of shared community,
Uh-huh.
barter,
Yeah,
trade.
gifting economy.
Yeah, gifting economy. And it was beautiful. I loved it. And they were able to, during this whole week of the Rubber Tramp Roundup, they they made up, so all the donations that people
Mm-hmm.
were giving all tallied up. Was it $25,000? So as
Yeah.
much as it was to put it on. So they put it on bare bones, but tons of volunteer support that made it amazing and just brought it all together.
Yeah, the goal was 25,000. I think they said it was exceeding that the last day,
Okay.
26 or $27,000 raised to make the event free, and it was free. It was an
Yeah.
entire week and a half of programming, all done by volunteers. It was a really cool event.
Was.
I was privileged to be able to speak at it. And it's kind of funny because I volunteered to do a panel on basically what we talk about on vanspirit, how to stay alive and and energized and grounded while you're on the road. So I volunteered to do a panel on this, and they accepted my proposal, and I figured it would be like a little tent on the side with 10 or 15 people, because when you do a conference and you volunteer to do a panel discussion, that's what you do. Nobody told me it was going to be in front of the entire assembly of people. So I'm like talking to an entire baseball field of people about this, and I was had a couple great co people. It wasn't a discussion at all. It was basically some presentations.
Right.
But it was awesome. And my theme of that talk was, I think, a theme that I walked away with. The spiritual theme of the week for me was connection. Always connect. And another presenter used a pop culture reference, so I threw one in there too. It's from an old TV show called Joan of Arcadia, and if you haven't watched it, it's a great 2-season binge. And it's about a young teenager who is visited by the divine, and it, depending on your perspective, either corrupted my theology for all time or grounded it in something. But the takeaway for the entire show was 2 words: always connect. Always connect. So every single episode of this TV show, this goofy TV show, was connecting, even when it's hard, even when it's impossible. And that's what I kind of got at this RTR. Was at one point the leader of the conference, his name is Bob Wells. He started this thing, Cheap RV Living. He's a YouTube celebrity now. But he said, "How many of you are introverts?" to the whole crowd. And I would say, what's 3/4 or more raised their hand. It was you gotta kind of have to be an introvert to survive living in a van.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And here are all these introverts. And my takeaway from my talk was connect, always connect. If it's an opportunity to be online with a group, if you go too long without connecting to other people, pushing yourself to connect and looking for the opportunities to say hello to somebody else, to introduce yourself to somebody else, to ask about somebody's story. What brings you here? A great conversation starter, like in a current campground like this, is, what brings you to this place, or where are you from? And for introverts, that can be really hard. Mm-hmm. Where are you from? I don't know. I don't want to know. Who are you? But always connect. That was the takeaway from my whole talk. And anyhow, so as we wrap up this episode of Van Spirit, I think we've talked about everything we wanted to.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This conference is open to the Roundup is open to everybody, so it's something you can put on your calendar. It's free. You don't have to have a van or camper or schoolie bus to attend. Mm-hmm. There were people, in their Priuses,
mm-hmm.
Bikes. Yeah, bicycles. It was quite a collection of people.
Yeah, as Bob Wells said in one of his videos, if you have a body, you can come.
I also kind of imagine that this is a vision of the future if society crumbles. Right, these are the survivors. We're going to be like Mad Max in the middle of the desert, with our solar panels and our MREs. And as such, it was a pretty positive vision of humanity's future. Mm-hmm. So until next time,
be well
and keep moving.